And hello, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of The Zone TV Movie Entertainment with me, your host Jonathan. Once again, bringing you my thoughts and movie review for this year's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, this is the sequel to the 2014 blockbuster Guardians of the Galaxy, where Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel, they all play a bunch of misfit smugglers and, kind of like, pathetic excuse for heroes. And they come together and they save the universe, and now they're basically doing the same thing all over again in the second one. Now, in this movie, we have Star-Lord, obviously, played by Chris Pratt. He discovers something very interesting about his life. He actually meets his father for the first time, played by Kurt Russell. Now, when he first meets him, he's not sure, like, oh, how can I have a relationship with this guy who basically never sought to find me all these years? Because remember, he was kidnapped. If you remember the first one, spoiler for the first one, he was kidnapped as a young kid after his mom passed away, and then he got taken to space by Yondu, played by Mickey Rourke, who's badass in this movie, by the way. And he never knew about his real father. He knew his mother died. He didn't really have anybody left. He was taken away from his home. So meeting his father for the first time, he was kind of like, wow, this is like what it feels like to have a father. And then while that's happening, you got a bunch of like these golden celestial people who basically go after Star-Lord and his team, basically because they kind of screwed up a job. Put it that way. And I don't want to spoil why they really went after them, but basically they did that. And then we have ourselves an adventure. Right off the bat, gotta say, I like this movie. I didn't like it as much as the first one. The first one to me is hilarious, and I'll get to my negatives about the second one. But like I said, about the first one, it's so funny getting to see these characters and connect with each other, and how they function as a group or as a so-called family, because these guys are like the opposite of the Avengers. When the Avengers first met each other, they hate each other's stinking guts. I mean, sure, in the first Guardians, they kind of like didn't like each other, but they had one common goal, and basically to stop Thanos on the first one, and Ronan to basically save the universe. So that's how they banded together. So in the second one, they basically still had that same chemistry, which was awesome. And the action in this movie, I really liked. I think it was a it was a step up from the first one. And the story was, I'm gonna say the story was predictable. That's all I'm gonna say, because honestly, when you watch it, you're gonna be like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. You kind of feel like they're doing the same thing all over again from the first one, and not to spoil anything, but that's basically the gist of it. It's the same movie except they just call it 2. Now, this movie does have some problems. It's not every movie's perfect. So for me personally, I can't say that I really like this one a lot, because I don't. I like it, but I'm not in love with this movie like I was the first one. The first one is like in my top 3 Marvel movies from the Disney version side of all time. So it's like number 3 or 4. But this movie does have its problem. Let's start with the music. Everybody knows in the first movie that the music was the star of the movie. Because you had Star-Lord, he has his music, from the 80s pop culture. And in this one, they didn't really hit too much. They're good songs, don't get me wrong, but they didn't feel like like Ooga Chaga like from the first one. It wasn't like that. Like you can hum it or whatever. Be like, yeah, this is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like, it wasn't like that. So that was a kind of a bummer. And certain characters in this movie didn't really get to shine like they did in the first one. I felt like they kind of got left back a little bit. I mean, it felt weird. I mean, this is a minor spoiler. It's not exactly going to spoil the whole movie for you. But this character it's Drax. And if you're a fan of Drax, who's played by Dave Bautista, listen, he's a wrestler. We all know that. He's not exactly The Rock yet, but he's going to get there eventually. I don't know what happened in this movie, because honestly, he got left back in the in the behind everybody in this movie. It felt so weird. He had good jokes and good moments, but he didn't really fight like he did in the first one. I kind of got disappointed with that because I wanted to see him get better as an actor. I mean, they kind of just put him in the shadows. It felt so weird. And also, what kind of really pissed me off about this movie, and like I said, I still like this movie a lot. I really do. They kind of forced Groot. Groot's great. I love Groot. He's one of the coolest characters ever. But they kind of put him in your face, like, yeah, look at Baby Groot, look how cute he is. Yes, I get it, he's cute, but he didn't really do anything either. I was expecting Groot to do something, and like I said, it's minor spoilers here, but he didn't do anything, just being so damn adorable. He was adorable. I gotta admit that he was great. He was so cute. But come on, cuteness ain't gonna help you win the movie here or save the universe. And another thing, the bad guy story, background story. Listen, as a I'm a comic book person. I know the comic books, not too much of the Guardians, but I kind of knew a little bit about this bad guy in this movie, and seeing his backstory, kind of like I knew right away this certain character was gonna be bad. I'm not gonna say who it is, but this certain character, I knew right off the bat he was gonna be the bad guy, like right off the bat. Even when the trailer first showed him, I was like, yeah, he's basically the bad guy, and it made it so obvious too. Even non-comic book geeks who only watch the movies can understand that. But yeah, whatever. But he was still great. He was the better villain than the first one, hands down. Is he the top 10? I'll put him around there. Yeah, he's actually up there for me. He's actually up there for me. Marvel did something right for once. They kind of got a villain pretty well. Because they really don't have villains. I'm not gonna count Spider-Man. That he's part of the Marvel universe now, but I don't count him. But yeah. I don't know. It felt weird. And like I said, everybody was great for what they were. Kurt Russell was great. You got to see so many different cameos in this thing. And there are 3 after credits, so stay for all 3 because they're pretty. 2 of them are funny, and the last one you're going to be like, huh? So find somebody who knows about comic books and explain that to you because, it's a doozy. It's not exactly setting up the next movie. It just sets up something that could happen eventually in the Marvel Universe. So there you go. So if I had I'm going to grade this movie a 75% out of 100. I liked it. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I love the first one still. This one's still there. It's probably going to end up around the bottom of my favorite Marvel movies of all time, combining all the Marvel movies, Fox, Sony, whatever. But it's up there, but it's fun. Go check it out. Everybody's cool. Rocket Raccoon is great. Nebula is great. Yondu is great. I love those guys. They were all great in that movie. Everybody else was fine except certain characters like I was mentioning before. But yeah, like I said, I still liked the movie. It was fun, but exactly wasn't like my favorite Marvel movie so far. But that's okay. Marvel's going to have a slip up eventually, but they're still going to make the money. Who cares? But you know what? That's fine. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought if you've seen the movie. And what do you like better, 1 or 2? Thank you very much and have a good day.